All right.
Because there's a whole lot of awesome right here.
So now we are on to segment 2, which is the evolution of a TTRPG character, Novice and Journeyman. So we'll start with Bear. What strategies do you use to make a novice character engaging and fun to play? Now, let me put just a little something out here. I'm not saying you're like this, but there are some people in our circle who will just adamantly say, I hate low-level characters. They're boring. They're dumb. I just want to get to level 6 and 7 when I can do something useful. God forbid that I have to play another low-level character again in insert game here. So how can you... What's that?
I said, that sure as hell ain't me.
Well, it's not me either. But with that said, let's provide that person some ideas to make that character engaging and fun to play.
Well, see, this is hard for me because I'm not a player, right? I'm very rarely a player. So I see it all from a GM point of view. But if I was trying to help a player along in that type of a situation, if I put myself in that position, have a reason. Go back to what I said about making the character in the first place and have a reason for this person to be out in the world beyond, I want to roll dice and kill monsters. Have a reason that they're out there doing things. Have something be important to them that they're working towards, a goal. There's a crazy idea. I used to do this in my games. I used to say, okay, I need a short goal, a medium goal, and a long-term goal. And whenever they'd say, I don't understand what that means. What do you mean by that? I'd say, okay, short goal, I want to get off this water farm. Medium goal, I want to get revenge on the guy who I want to become a great starfighter pilot. I want to get revenge on the guy who killed my dad. Oh, halfway through the campaign, that one just changed to I want to redeem my dad who turned out to be the prick that I thought killed my dad. But once you have that basic sort of a concept where you have a short goal that'll change as you move on, you accomplish little goals, replace it with a new short-term goal. Your medium-term goal should be an important campaign moment that should happen in the first few levels if we're doing a D&D type thing, then have a new medium-term goal. And your long-term goal should either be the culmination of the character's existence or, in the case of the example I give, a complete fucking switch that now gives the character a whole new motivation and drive to continue doing what they're doing. If you're just going to plunder dungeons for treasure, well, then just start playing level 6. Yeah, just play at fucking level 6 because you just want to play cool powers and bounce dice. You know what I mean? You're not into your character existing as a character. You're into your character existing as a vehicle for you to roll dice. So figure out which one you're going to do, and then when you lean into the one you're doing. If you're playing a character that's going to grow and evolve, the kind of stuff we're talking about here, have reasons for your character existing in the world. We all have goals. We all have wants, needs, and desires. Bring that to your character.
Grizzly has a, wow, I just realized something. I think my high school guidance counselor was a really badass GM. All he did was ask about my goals.
There you go.
So I'm going to flip the script on you a little bit, Bear, for my follow-up, which is what are some of the challenges of playing a low-level character? And then how do you overcome those challenges?
The grind. I think the grind is always going to be the hard part for those mid-level, low-level characters because they're not novice and wide-eyed and fresh, and they're not wow, pow, boom. They're sort of in that, I'm going to go kill 58 rats today type mentality. And, so again, that's where goals will come in to keep your character going and keep you giving a reason to keep getting up in the morning, as they say. But that's where it's less about you as a player with the character, and it's more about the narrator and what they're doing with the campaign and how they're keeping you engaged at that point, because you can't engage yourself beyond a certain point. There's only so much self-engagement you can achieve before, if you're getting nothing back from the other side, you're just, pissing into the fucking void. So why bother? At least that's what I feel.
Sure. All right, Heathen Dog, what strategies do you use to make a novice character engaging and fun to play?
Well, in most games, like I said earlier, in most games you have background points, ancillary points, freebie skills, whatever, to kind of make the character your own. And if you're having trouble visualizing your character, you're having trouble really getting into it at the very end of your character creation, what you can do is use some of those points for something that is completely off the wall. It's like bonkers, like stupid, like you are a badass samurai. No, not samurai. You're a badass barbarian warrior, but you have dance as a skill. Why? Now you have to figure out how to make that dance part of your character.
Yeah, you're like a Maori.
You
It's
just
a war dance. There you go.
you just engaged yourself
Yep.
with your character, and now you like it more. That's it. That you just did it to yourself. You brainwashed yourself into making your character a person in your head instead of just a murder machine. And there's also ways that you can act during your low levels. Like when you're at low levels, you're fighting. If you're in a fantasy setting, you're fighting things like kobolds and gnolls and crap like that. Low level monsters, but you're usually doing it trying to save a village or a family or some farmers or whatever. Figure out a way that your character interacts with normal folk, and then do that in your head as a game. Like for example, I had one character who would always interact with children by giving them sweets.
Do you have a white van?
No white van. And this is before all that stuff. So give them a little like sweets or sugar jerky or whatever. And
Sugar jerky, huh?
Humanize your character to the NPCs, so they'll be more willing to help you. Plus, it also lets the game master maybe want to flesh out an NPC to make it more engaging for the entire group. You're throwing out a lure as a character with your like minute motivation or little gesture with that. And other people can jump on that. The game master can jump on that, and NPCs can respond more favorably to you in the future because of that. And doing stuff like that can make your low levels, which you are by design not very powerful and not very awe-inspiring, but you are making an impact. You're just doing it in a smaller way, and you're letting yourself appreciate those small things that you do.
So how would you handle a game master that doesn't want to deal with that? Like, oh, that's not part of the game, whatever. Yeah, you do your thing. Let's move on.
Well, I hope the other players appreciate it. Stuff like that. I really do. If the game master doesn't like my role playing with his NPCs,
This really has nothing to do with my world. I don't want to make the game master sound too horrible, but I've dealt with game masters that would be like, "Who cares, dude? Yeah, you did that. Let's move on with what we're trying to do here."
Okay, that's your GM.
Yeah, that's a bad GM right there. I mean, he gave up an opportunity to make his world more real.
It's all about finding the right player for the right table and the right GM, right? Having this alignment.
The right GM for your player, is just as important as the right player for your GM. So then he and I might not be playing for a long time. That's just the way it is. I mean, is that inherently bad? No, I'm not going to say that.
Let's be honest. You and I know a lot of people from our time in the Air Force and people we've met online. We have some people that we'd consider very good friends. Go out of our way for. Maybe even give them money. I don't know. But sorry, but you're not going to play in my game because I know that
bad players, good folk,
yep.
Awesome people, bad players, and the same thing goes for game masters. That I have some friends that are awesome people and they love game mastering, but I think they're bad at it.
And sometimes it's not even like that they're bad at it. It's just like the style don't match.
Yeah,
right?
Doesn't click with me.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, exactly right.
For other people. Yeah, you like those game of kicking the dungeon door and going and kill everything there.
Sure.
This guy's gonna be great for you. He's gonna give you balance and counter, and you always have that's not for me. That's fine, right? I'll do something else.
If it's your cup of tea, drink it up, right? But it's not mine. I'm probably gonna end up moving on. Yeah. That's probably what.
All right, so let's move on to Mr. Max and ask him the same question. What strategies do you use to make a novice character engaging and fun to play?
I mean, I love playing new characters, and because we do a lot of short campaign, we get to do it a lot, right? Which is great. Because for me, what makes a character interesting is not necessarily how powerful it is. It's who he is as a character, and when you his goals, aspirations, stuff like that. But also, I mentioned before, you get to discover who the character is through play, right? You have an idea, you put yourself in the mindset, and sometimes you get surprised. Say some situation happen, and then you react as your character and say, "Oh, that's who this guy is," right? You're just like, for me, like that's great. I love this moment. You get to experience the skin of somebody else, right? So there's no challenge of like, and when you play a new character, a novice character, you're playing a guy that is new on the adventuring path, and a lot of things that you encounter or new experience or new, like it's the first time you encounter this kind of a monster. It's the first time you go down a dungeon, right? Different people, and you don't always have to play the same way. Different people are going to react to those kind of situations different way. So there's a lot of like potential there to experience. Like for me, like I often talk about like emotional alignment being a great thing for like, that's one thing I look for in role-playing game. I want you to put yourself in the mindset of your character, and obviously there's a temper, right? There's a damper. You're not feeling thing 100% like your character does. We're not fucking insane, right? But you should have like some of the emotion of your character is feeling going through you as well, right? That's something that those game can give you to you that very few other medium can, right? So, and when you're a new character, there's huge potential for that in there.
So your advice is to experiment with your new character to see what feels right.
Yeah.
But the question was about journeyman characters, not new characters, Mr. Max.
Well, novice and journeyman, yeah.
Oh, come on. Let me hold him to the fire. Damn it.
Okay. And, well, to be fair, the actual question says the word novice in it. Novice
All
character.
right, fine. Whatever, then.
Yeah, but where's the line between novice and journeyman, right? Just like in the first
one, it's circle 4 or 5.
Level 3.
Drink.
Yeah, but the it's how you, as long as you get like new experience and stuff like that, even like, and at some point also, like if you do like the typical like game where you're gonna go killing rats in the basement or whatever, like doing like, adventuring for survival, basically, oftentimes when you do like low level, when there's that thing where there's this tension there, at some point you're going to move to a different type of campaign where like now you're going to do like intrigue noble and stuff like that. You still have something new to experience, right? You still have like it's a different version, but now I'm stepping on maybe on the next series of questions.
No, but you have a good point, and let's use an analogy for this, which would be the Three Musketeers, right? The first story about D'Artagnan meeting them and then having like arranged to have a duel with each and every one of them, and then all arriving at the same time and being like, "What the fuck? We're all fighting this guy." That's your novice stuff. That's your early stuff. It's very, very interesting. Later, we get to the Man in the Iron Mask, where you have this whole plot going on and this whole situation of where they're going to learn that the king's got a twin brother and blah, 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 and all this crazy stuff, and they're going to save the kingdom. It's going to be great. Awesome. In the middle is Milady, where we've learned all the secrets, we know who all the players are, and now we're just chasing this bitch around. And
that's
boring,
the
and it's the middle part. But compared to the other two, it's the lesser of the three for the most part. So in that time, that's where you're going to need the narrator more than the player to step up and make the game more interesting for those people in that situation. Otherwise, they're just chasing plot threads, right? Or they're just chasing bad guys, or whatever the case may be.
Well, they don't have to chase. They can make things happen, right? They're just like they're being used. They're trying to push their agenda. Yeah, they can still be proactive.
They can be, but they often get killed being proactive. You know that as well as I do. Players often get themselves killed through proactive behavior.
Yeah.
Preferably the characters, not the players, but just.
No. We play Iron Man D&D here, sir.
Yeah. If you die in role play, you die in real life.
Die in real life. I'm sorry, Blackleaf. I declare you dead. You must leave the game. We play chick track style around this part, sir.
So I want to have a generic question for all of you here, and each one of you can obviously jump in on this one. Is there a system, a game system, game setting, game world, however you want to call it, that better facilitates low-level play when compared to others? At least in your mind.
D&D.
That facilitates low-level play?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I have the complete opposite opinion of you on that one.
Okay, well, let's take WotC fantasy game.
Okay.
D&D for Mr. Man up there. WotC fantasy game, after level 6 and the 30.5 falls apart. It becomes too much. In the fourth version, which is the second version of their game, which is a completely different version. So I'm trying really hard for you here, Max. I'm really trying hard for you, buddy.
WotC Fantasy Role-Playing Second Edition. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. It doesn't matter because the game it's fun, but it's not what we're talking about. And then in the fifth version, Oh, you get past level 10 and that game just turns into a fucking anime, over the top, crazy, do what you want nonsense. You know what I mean? So I think that idea of a game, that level 1, that 0 to hero part of it, is the best part of the game. And it does it so well. And they've done so much work to make that work. When you get past hero, let me finish and then you can jump on all over it. Yeah. When you get past hero, so level 6 in 3.5, 3.5, level 10 in 5, the game falls apart. You know, it just becomes a mess. Go ahead.
I feel like the D&D 5e, just to keep it simple, it's not that it does low level very particularly well, it's that it does higher level particularly bad. That's what I would say, right? Because even like in people like playing it, a lot of people start playing at level 3, at level 5, because level 1 and 2, the actual low level, oftentimes like people find they kind of suck, no?
Maybe that's what you think. I don't agree.
Yeah. No, okay.
I think level 1 to 6 is an absolute sweet spot in any version of D&D post second edition. Okay. I think previous editions, older editions, second edition, first edition, BX, Back Me, what have you, I think it's very different. I think BX after level 12, you're really good. The game just.
I wasn't like specifically talking for me. Like I'm just like we know that a lot of people like don't start at level 1. They often start at level 3, level 5. So you know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's something there, right? Maybe it's a mistake.
No, but I think that's power fantasy. I don't think that's I don't think that's the game not doing a good job, because I think the game does a really good job actually. And I think I've said it many times before. 5th edition is a fantastic game engine, really well designed. It's all the extra shit they added in that made it break. But if you take that PHB and go from there, you got a great little game. But people have power fantasy problems, and that's where you get your creep and your splat books and all that kind of shit. It happened to 2nd edition, it happened to 3rd edition, it happened to 4th edition, it happened to 5th edition. It's going to happen to whatever the new edition is, because people want more MOAR. You know, that's what they want. Yeah. More. Well, okay, but if you want to talk about a game that I think supports low-level play very well, any iteration of D&D, and I will say any iteration of D&D does low-level very well, with the caveat each version presents its own style of play. So if you want grisly fantasy fucking Vietnam, 1st edition, BX, even 2E to a certain extent. If you want 0 to hero, 3rd edition, 5th edition. If you want hero and just going to get more awesome as I go, 4th edition, right? But the thing is that it supports the starting out very well. At least that's what I feel.
Enug, you want to answer before I explain to Bear how he's wrong?
All right. Well, there's 2 ways I go about fixing this problem that some players have with grinding out the low level stuff. There are games out there that are super front loaded, like Palladium, super front loaded. Yep. You know, no one's really a low level. At level 1, you are like 50% of what you're going to be at level 15, right?
If not more, but yeah,
if not more, exactly right.
I agree.
And then the other way is to choose a game where you start off at low level, but progression feels fast. For example, the old World of Darkness stuff. 1 dot in a discipline, one dot in Arete, one dot in a sphere is a huge difference. It's amazing how much you progress, but there's still so much more to go. So for players like, oh, I hate slugging through the low levels, it sucks. Well, then play one of these 2 games: super front loaded game or games where it feels like you advance very, very quickly.
So I would actually counter you a little bit, because I agree with what you're saying, but I would say that a game like Traveler, where you really don't have but you don't have actual progression, actually does a better job of facilitating low level play, if you want to call it levels, because you can make a character that's pretty powerful, so to speak. It's kind of like I think Mr. Max or somebody there, or Rick used to say this, where you can have the Obi-Wan, the grizzled veteran, in with the Luke Skywalker, and it actually works. Unlike D&D, where you can't really have a 10th level character with a 1st level character. That 1st level character isn't going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, but
I agree.
I would argue that games like Traveler don't really have anything that feels like a low level. because everyone will go through that life path system, and your character at the end of that life path system just feels like he starts off at level 10. You know, it just feels like it. Whether he's that powerful doesn't matter, but he feels like that because you've gone through this hour or 2 hour journey with him already, right? So I would argue there is a low level play feel in games like Traveler or Pathfinder stuff like that, just because of how the game is set up, how it works.
If you play like a for long campaign in Traveler, like your progression is like through the connection you make, the equipment, the gear you get. If you get
it's not
like
stats,
that,
ability, skills, power that drive you. It's your accomplishments in the game that make you feel low, mid, or high level.
Yeah, and I love those games where you can just have like a disparate party of different level. Like for me, that's great, right?
Yeah,
it's like I love a game when the power curve is much more like flat, right? I don't like when you're like super steep, right? No, just like
right. Some game systems are built for that. You know, Palladium is built for that. You know, you can have a 10th level character fight with a first level character. It can be done. It's completely doable. And in Traveler, you can have someone who's played for 6 months, and then a brand new character show up and still fit, and it'll still work.
Mike, do you want to insert Bear, or you want me to give my?
I'm still waiting to hear how I'm wrong.
No,
well, here we go.
I disagree on the concept that 5e isn't zero to hero. 5e is hero to superhero.
We can agree to disagree on that one.
Okay, I mean the game just plays out that way, so
It never did when I ran it.
Well, then I don't know how you're running it differently than what the rules state, but okay.
Apparently, I'm running it correctly, so
sure.
No, you have a point. Yes, a 5e character is more powerful than a 2e character at first level. But again, as I said, and I did put the caveat in, each version presents its own experience of what that zero is going to be. So in BX, a second edition first level character is much more than a first level BX character. Or first level and second edition is a much more tough character. Much more tough. There's my English. A much tougher character than a BX first level character. Absolutely. Third edition characters are phenomenally more powerful than at first level than a second edition character. And continuing up the train. Yes, the power level has gone like this through each edition. Absolutely. And the biggest spike jump was third edition. It did go up as a big jump. I agree. I'm not arguing that fact. But if you take in all the player options and stuff from second edition, dude, come on. First level characters a lot tougher.
Yeah, but see, that's one of the big. Well, I mean, if you go into just player's handbook, 5e is way more powerful than 2e.
I agree 100%.
And I will say exactly what I said last week, and you were on last week. I'll say it again. This isn't to Bear, this is to everybody. There's one big difference between 5e players and 2e players. 2e players said no.
Said no to what?
I want to be something weird. I want to be an Amazon Wemmick. No. But it's in the book. No. But I have no. 5e players, for some reason, can't seem to do that.
I've seen plenty of second edition games back in the day that didn't say no and let people do whatever the fuck they wanted to.
Well, I've seen it.
Your experience is not universal. That's my point.
Okay, neither is yours. Jesus
Agreed. And I'm not saying mine is. That's the difference. You're making a blanket statement.
Yes, generalizations are how debate and discussion are done, dude. You know this.
That's how pointless debate and discussion are.
Okay.
Actual discussions are done through intelligent converse. Come on.
Yes, Mr. Psychologist.
Come on. Let's, there's other things we can disagree about and argue about than this stupid tired horse.
So about those systems that do low-level play well.
Sorry, what was that?
About those systems that do low-level play well.
Oh, there's this game called Bastard Sword that's coming out from this weird French-Canadian survivalist. Sounds like it's going to do the first level very well.
Yeah, I think it is. Well, first level it's a little level less, but fresh character. Yeah. No, but what I'm talking about, what I want to talk about is obviously Pendragon, right? Pendragon do low level well.
Okay.
Sure.
Because when you start you start as a knight, so you're gonna have your knightly equipment, and you have an horse, and you have a manor and stuff like that. So you always start. You have stuff you have to work with, right? You're gonna get some skill through play, but also it has to do the low level well, because at some point your guy is gonna get old and he's gonna die, and then you're gonna go play son, right? And you might play the son while the other character are still on their first character and stuff like that. So you have to be able to still compete. And because the game is all about making a name for yourself, even if you're under power, technically, even if you're less skilled, but you go out in the fray and stuff like that with the other knights that are, you're doing the stuff and you're participating and partaking in those things. So you're still making a name for yourself. And at some point it's almost better, right? Oh, this blue guy is like he's going with those old guys and doing those stuff, right? That's great, right? So I think like that's one game that, but because like again, it's a game that the power curve it's much more shallow. I would say that would be the term.
Well, yeah, it's a very different type of game, though. That's the thing. Like Pendragon is a game that is designed to do a specific type of game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Palladium, they make a great point. Palladium characters at first level, you're not going to see a huge change by 10th level. You know, you're going to be like, okay, I got a couple
number of
extra
attacks is
pluses and-
probably the biggest thing, and then
Biggest
you're
thing.
actually making some of the percentile rolls finally. But
yeah,
But
and that's
both
about it.
are both have this like power curve being a little more flat, right?
Mhm.
But Palladium is going to start you higher up, and you're not going to go as fast as much, like as high as much.
Yeah.
Well, Pendragon is going to start you lower, and you're going to remain like fairly like even when you get older and your skill get better, then you age and you lose some attribute and stuff like that. So even then, like, well, you get better in something, but you also get worse in something, right? So there's this thing like but it's all about like the social and the relationship that you build and stuff like that. So it doesn't matter. You can always go to a new character with the old pussies, right? And that work. You can still follow along.
I agree. I think, okay, let me establish one ground level statement for all of my future points in conversation that we're going to have tonight on this subject. D&D is a horribly broken game. D&D has toxified players for other games, and that they often want the same D&D experience that they got, so they want everything to seem like D&D. And once you break through that barrier as a player and a GM, you're going to get into a vaster, more exciting world of role-playing, where you're going to be just having way more fun than D&D, but it is still the 800-pound gorilla of our hobby, and it is still something we can all have a common touch base on. And yes, we've all had fun playing D&D in our lives. So that's just, so I want to make that going forward. I'm not shitting on it. I'm not saying the OSR is bad, the new SR is bad, or the I don't give a fuck SR is bad. What I'm saying is that D&D has its problems, but it also has its praises. So there we go.
And I think most games do like low level fairly well. Like oftentimes, like games break in higher level.
No, it's Cyberpunk.
Not Cyberpunk.
You gonna die. You gonna die. You gonna die. You gonna die. Like the only way to survive in low level Cyberpunk is to keep your head down and never draw your fucking pistol and get into a firefight, which is really hard in a game where they present all these awesome firefight rules and these awesome character rules like Solo, where you're like, I'm gonna be death on wheels. Yeah, but you just started there, Skippy. And now you're running into the Euro solos who've been doing it for 5 years and have lived for 5 years and have 5 years of experience under their belt, and they're just going to fucking grind you in the first round of combat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that works as expected. No,
it works as expected. But it's not the player D&D experience. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think it is the D&D experience to some degree. And this is what the last thing I was going to say on this before we move on to the next question, is that one of the reasons why I say that especially old school D&D, which is the version I like, doesn't do low level well, in my opinion, is because you can't put a first level character next to an 8th level character and expect that character to even have a chance of survival. You can in Traveler, apparently you can in Pendragon. You guys can talk about, well, I mean, same kind of system with Chaosium, but whether a high skilled character in Chaosium has, what type of survivability it has. You can, did I mention Palladium already? Probably did. Traveler, et cetera, et cetera. These games, many games out there have the ability that you're going to gain more skills. You're going to get better in your skills, and you're going to get better combat. I still wouldn't necessarily put a first level Heroes Unlimited character against a 10th level Heroes Unlimited character, because that guy's going to have more attacks per round and his powers are going to be stronger. But there's always a chance. And if nothing else, at least you can hit him. Mm-hmm. So, which you can't even do in D&D a lot of times. I'm over exaggerating.
But if a first level character is fighting a 10th level character, it's not even really a fight.
Right.
It's more of arguing.
But that's a different question. That's now we're talking about like multi-level party and like.
But it's like goes back to that cyberpunk thing. Like you said, that kind of worked out as intended. I kind of agree with that. Now you should be able to fight something, but yeah, a more experienced character in a lot of games is going to wipe the floor with a less experienced character. That's just I think that's the gamification of these games.
As someone who has run literally, and I'm not even joking when I say this, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of Cyberpunk. No. You get presented this game that sounds like the coolest anime you're ever going to watch, right? Because remember, it was a Bubblegum Crisis game that he couldn't get the license for, so we made Cyberpunk out of it. And you read all the cool stories about Johnny Silverhand and Kerry Eurodyne and Raish Bartmoss, and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. I can't wait to do that. And you get into your first gunfight, and the Arasaka goons take you out.
Yeah.
Because one bullet hits you in the wrong place and the damage double, and your character's dead, make a new character. The old joke was make 7 characters before you show up for the game, right? That's not what the game is advertising on the box or in its presentation, but that's what the rules do to you when you play.
Oh, really? Okay. I'll take your. I never played it, so I'll take your word for it. But like for me, if you were to say me like we're gonna play a cyberpunk game from like, and I'm not into that genre really, but the expectation I would have like this gonna be like probably like a very gritty, very deadly game. So if like some people like start drawing gun, maybe I'm gonna try to diffuse the situation and move away, right? Like that would be the expectation I have. But maybe like I'm coming from a different.
But you're also a grown adult who's played lots of games at this point in time and has a vast media knowledge. Put yourself back in the mindset of a 15-year-old kid playing this game.
Oh no, guns a blazing, bitch.
Yeah. And then, well, my character's dead. Well, my new character's dead. Oh, my other character's dead. Like, it's insane, right?
Fair.
But it's
all I
great
have
game.
to do is live through my first gunfight, and then I'll have enough experience to actually live through the second one.
No, you won't.
I don't understand how you guys feel that way. It says in the book, I forget the quote is, but it's not how I forget how it goes. Basically, it's all about style. You're supposed to die with style. Yeah, style.
The line is style over substance.
Die 7 times. As long as you do it cool, you have won.
All right.
Anyway, let's move on to the next question. So, Bear's going to be happy about this one because I'm asking this question as a game master now. But we're going to start with Heathen Dog. As a game master, how do you handle the balance between character progression and maintaining the challenge in the game?
Oh, okay. All right. Characters have a built-in progression in the system of the game. I don't really have to handle that. It's either if it's a skill-based game, they're getting skill points. If it's a class-based game, the level they're getting experience points. Now, the trick is as a game master not to give them too much of these things too fast. And it's not just being stingy. It's not like I'm being miserly with my experience points or whatever or my skill points. No. It's if you give them things too quickly, they won't appreciate them. They'll just expect more and more and more because I don't trust players. They're all bitches. So you have to manage them properly. And there are games that do this really well, and there are games that do this really poorly. The game that does this really well is a Palladium because it has a system. This is how many experience points you give for this, for that, for this. And it makes sure that everyone progresses at a proper pace, proper as detailed by the game system. Right? And then there are other games, especially first and second edition D&D, where you would also get experience points for treasure. And I never liked that. I always hated that because just getting money doesn't give you experience in being a bard, dumbass. It doesn't work that way.
So write your comments to Heathen Dog, not to me.
Yeah. So
Heathen Dog.
I never used it. I mean, oh well, I found 5 gems and a Mona Lisa. That's like 500,000 experience points. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's money. You got money. Congratulations. Sell Mona Lisa, get yourself a sword, whatever. But you're not getting experience points for it. So you have to, as a game master, you have to make sure that they are going to hit their milestones, but not as fast as they want, but not too slow as to piss them off. That is your sweet spot. That's your right there. You walk that middle ground right there, and everyone's going to have a better time. The reason being is because the players are not just looking forward to the next big level because they know it's not coming super fast. So now they have to focus on other things like the shit that's in front of them. And it gets them to play the game rather than just waiting for the next level bag of tricks. So yeah, give, but do not give too much too fast. and the game will progress correctly, and everyone will have a better time than if you went either way.
So, what role in your games does player feedback play in shaping the growth of a character from its novice to its journeyman status, so to speak? And don't lie, I've been in your games.
Okay. Character growth in my games, especially storyteller games like World of Darkness, is very, very important. You remember, I would have you write down things that your character learned. You know, like they don't all have to be epiphanies, but they all have to be something that
they can't be. If you roll high, you win.
Yeah. No, but it has to be something that either altered, changed, or reinforced the way your character sees the world, sees the teammates, sees whatever. And I will give you a certain amount of experience points for that, because I want you to become more invested in your character, not what your character gets at each of these milestones. So yeah, for storyteller games, I do the journal thing. For other games, sometimes I just ask questions about the character to the player, you know, to trick them into thinking about their character sometimes, you know, just to get them more involved in what in the now instead of what's in the future.
Okay. So, Mr. Max, as a GM, how do you handle the balance between character progression from novice to journeyman and maintaining the challenge in the game?
I think it's not about like the challenge, the type of challenge should change. I think you should like change the emotional shift of the game, right? Like at some point, because like and it shouldn't just be like getting harder and harder and harder. You want to have like ups and down, right? Ups and down, right? Characters start the adventure for survival and stuff like that. Then they get a little better, and then they become like local heroes, and then they became noticed by the nobility, and then they get into the court intrigue, and then they realize they get more they can chew because those people are fucking snake. But now we're in a different type of game with different style, right? So now you get back, and then like at some point you manage to climb up the curve when you start like getting rid of your enemies and making a name for yourself, you know. And then at some point you go back into the cosmic thing, right? When you go planar adventure, right? And now like you again, so you have to vary the emotional tone and the type of challenge that you encounter. You don't just do like, oh, you go in the dungeon, you're fighting rats. 10 level later, now you're fighting
bigger rats,
like Umber Hulk or bigger rat, basically.
Bigger rat,
same thing.
Yeah.
And you know, like in 10 level later, you're fighting something else bigger, right? If you just do that, like, well, at some point, like you're just gonna get boring, right? You just like you might as well like play like a. Anyway, like just a regular board game.
I get it, but I would add in one thing. I would add in sometimes you do the opposite. Sometimes you make the day super easy.
Yes, that's
oh yeah. Just to show the characters how much they've actually grown. Like
that's what I'm talking. Also, like moving like the emotional tone, right? Having the back, the up and down. Like at some point they need to be like, oh, we did, and then like they move to the next tier, right? You're getting up the curve, and then like, oh, now we different type, right? We're facing different challenge that we're not equipped to, that are different with the. Yeah, go ahead there.
Thanks. I like the haircut, by the way. Also, you give them a good day, not only to show them how good they are, but to let that paranoia seep in that they're having a good day. Why are we having a good day? Something's wrong. There's like, you know, like you let that. Nothing has been a greater tool in that regard for the players to feel than to allow them to be paranoid themselves and let them dig their own hole. You know what I mean? Like that really helps. So that way, no matter how powerful their characters get, by doing what you suggested, by giving them a good day, they'll now undermine themselves. Because why is everything going right? They're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, because that's what they've learned through film, television, other games, video games, et cetera, right?
But don't always make it the other shoe drop.
No, God, no. No. But listen to what they say, because they might give you a great idea.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and like but it's not also like for the paranoia. Also, you need the contrast. Like, you know, like that's the reason why roller coaster go up and down, right? Otherwise, you get desensitized. So you need this contrast in tone and stuff like that, right? Because at some point the emotion need to be refreshed. You need to make them feel something else. Sometimes they need to feel like they're winning a bit, right? Just like and then you can feel like, oh shit, we're getting screwed. Okay, we're winning. Oh shit, like, and then we're getting screwed in different way, right? This contrast and this variation is important because like people get desensitized. Like if you're always like trying to push them, the push don't lose their efficiency.
They'll actually get worn out.
Yep.
Well, it's not a surprise. It's not interesting when it happens every time.
Yep.
In every D&D game I've ever run, I've always had the character start at level 1, and there's always some obstacle, usually an ass in their hometown who always beat him up. There was a bully. He was the head of the local gang, whatever. You left, and then you got to level 4 or 5, fighting kobolds and gnolls and whatever, and now you're an army guy. You come back home to see your mom, and this bully tries to put his finger in your chest now, and now you wipe the floor with him and all of his cronies. Like I'll do that sometimes. Give him a win because it should happen. That's what happened. You went off and got so much more experience than the local town bully that now it's like you're an adult and he's a child in comparison. Give him a win.
And now you've been the origin story for a new character because that bully is now going to go out and get power and experience and team with the dark forces, and 5 levels later show back up, and you're so overconfident because you kicked his ass last time. And whoa, what do you mean you work for the Demon Lord?
Sold his soul to the Dark Lord.
Exactly. Dang.
All right, trademark. You can't use that, people. That's ours. That storyline is
fair. Moving on to you now. As a game master, how do you handle the balance between character progression at the novice part of the game and maintaining the challenge in the game as it progresses to the journeyman?
I don't. Like, honestly, I don't. I don't care. Have you not noticed this in the Palladium game? I don't care.
You're not talking to me. You're talking to them.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I don't care about that stuff. That's not why I role play, to see how I have a player in my home game who's like, the rules are the most amazing thing ever. But over the years, he's come to realize the story is way more fun. And it doesn't matter how the rules do. And he showed me that in his last character he built. He did a first draft, which was a min-maxed nightmare. And then I said, you've given your character nowhere to go. He's starting as the best he could possibly be. And he came back with a much more reduced character. He goes, I want to see where this is going to go now. See, that's the thing. The rules are the rules.
Isn't that a type of challenge, though?
It is a challenge in its own way, but it's not a rules-based challenge. It's more of a story-based challenge, or more of a narrative-based challenge.
But I mean,
But I'm a dirty narrative gamer. I'm a filthy narrative gamer. I'm the worst kind of gamer that exists. Rules are meant to be broken. End zones boundaries are nice. They help. But, dude, that fucking Silky should have kicked the shit out of you guys, or that Naiad that you encountered. On paper, she would have fucked up at least 2 of you. You know what I mean?
But Cody stood the ground and he made a deal.
Exactly, which had nothing to do with the rules. It had to do with Cody's choice. So I challenge you through the story. I challenge you through the events. I challenge you through the experiences that you're going to run into. Your point that you made that I loved was about how you guys are losing your NPCs as you guys progress further down this adventure. Thank you for noticing that. Thank you for noticing that you're slowly becoming your own people now. You're stepping out of the world telling you what to do and deciding what you're going to do. And that's a challenge. That's way, 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 way more challenging than, well, you've got this much attack bonus, and this villain's going to have this much defense bonus, and then there's going to be this, he has this spell. Hey, who gives a fuck? Let's have fun instead.
Yeah.
Let's challenge your characters to the events. What?
It's about people. It's about people and relationship, and right with the
it's
world.
Spelled R-O-L-E. It's always been spelled R-O-L-E playing.
And anyone who's watching this, who's all like, stupid Grognar, story sucks. Like, honey, I need to borrow your pearls so I can clutch them.
Where's the couch?
Well, I know that there will be some comments.
It's all about the friend we made along the way, the friends and enemies.
The magic was inside you all along.
We are going to talk about a little bit of mechanics for just a moment. So this is for everybody. I think it's a good discussion. Do you think that slow leveling in games that have leveling, or slow XP gain, I guess you'd say, for especially the skill-based games, do you think that helps players learn their characters, or do you think that's punishing to a player? And again, this is open discussion, however you guys want to.
Sorry.
I think it helps, but also like for me and for like when I'm a player and for the type of player I play with, they care very little about getting more like stuff to do on the character sheet. Like they're gonna care much more about like this connection they made and stuff like that, right? That's where the real progression is, right? This connection, the goal that changed, right? Like I said, like the progression of your character is not just about like being more powerful. It's about change. It's your character change throughout the game, right? That's when like your character evolve. That's and that's in many ways. It's not only like mechanical, but like you want to talk about mechanical. You can like, I think you can just like, I don't think it's punishing at all. That would be my answer, because I think you could have like no mechanical progression at all, like in Traveler, right? Basically, and the game would still be interesting.
Oh, I've said it a bunch of times, and Joe from Biggest Geek, he completely disagrees with me on this one, but I'd be like, you could tell me, hey, we're going to be playing D&D, we're going to be at 4th level, but you're not going to get experience. We're just going to stay at 4th level the entire time. So pick your classes appropriately, do your thing. And, you know, I hope to run this campaign for a year, but, you know, there's so many monsters in those books back there that I haven't used that I can challenge you with at 4th level that we never need to level up, and I want to be able to use them all over the next year too. And I'd be like, oh, cool, okay.
You would say like, you know, like we don't ever use monster, like because I've said like the best monster are human.
Sure.
There's so many different people with different motivation, with different goal, different kind of interaction you can deal with, right? That, you know, that's interesting enough for me. That's where the juice is for me.
The juice. I think you're right, and about what you were saying about that 4th level thing. I think that's a great idea. I'd love to play in that game. Oh my god, that sounds like a good time, especially if we're using 2nd edition. Ooh, that'd be really fun. But I think at the end of the day, I prefer a mix. Right? Okay. I like a little bit of mechanics, and I like a little bit of character. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's punishing to restrict the amount of garbage mechanics they can bring in. Like, let's say we're playing the 3rd edition WotC fantasy role playing. We're not going to bring in the Tasha's book, and we're not going to bring in this book, and we're not going to keep adding all these expansions that just give your characters switches to flick, right? Because I've seen that game. It was called Warhammer Fantasy by Fantasy Flight Games. Where literally we sat down to play with the guy who was going to run it for our group, and he starts handing us tokens and chits, and I'm like, what is all this for? And he's like, well, when you use your power, you got to put the cooldown token on it. I'm like, what the fuck am I playing? This is not a video game at that point. I'm playing a board game, video game,
or a video game by hand.
Yeah,
like, by hand. I like that.
Video game by hand, video game but harder. Video game but less fun. So
that's the thing, like those systems can work when they're handled by a computer, and they should stay on the computer.
I agree. That's why for me I think there's a healthy mix between the two, and not to, you know, but Heroic I think strikes that healthy mix. I think Heroic takes it and gives you the perfect middle point on it.
Okay.
My answer for that is I give whatever XP equivalent is for that game as little as possible to keep the players from revolting. As little as possible. That way they're getting enough to where, okay, fine, I am progressing, but it keeps them at that level. Not only are they but by the time they get from, say, level 3, level 4, they've spent enough time in level 3 to understand their role as a 3rd level character, to make the most of the skills they have, and to make the most of the powers they have. And then when they finally have level 3 down, then they hit level 4 or 5 or 8 or whatever. So as slow as possible, without giving them the grumbly tumbies, you know.
I seem to remember that I handed out XP slower than you.
No, you handed out stuff slower than anyone. You were like Krampus. It was awful. Like money or items or prestige or whatever. You would dole out like wooden nickels. It was fucking awful.
So make a choice. Do you want to buy a spell, or do you want to buy armor? What is it?
Or do you want food? Sometimes it was that, you son of a bitch.
Blame Garthon for that one.
Getting off. No.
Yeah.
With experience, if you show that you are in the moment with your character, you will. I just end up giving you more because you can handle it. You're already doing what you're supposed to be doing. You can handle it, especially what I told you with the storyteller games. When we played Mage, you wrote in your journal, and if I see character growth in those pages, I give you experience points, because you no longer you are one step closer to your next milestone because you earned it. You really earned it. Not only did you defeat the monster or win the day or whatever, but you understood it, and it became part of your character moving forward. That's the kind of growth that I want to happen. That's why I usually slow down XP gain to as little as I can get away with, to give everyone the opportunity to really understand what it is to be level 3 or level 8.
I agree with that 100%. But I also want to comment on something else. When you said the players were revolting, all my brain did was, sir, the players are revolting. You can say that again. It's just, you hit a vaudeville moment for me with that one.
No, I'm a firm believer in slow leveling, because I want you to know your class before you move to the next phase of your class, whether that's a level or whatever. It's
one of the nice things Pathfinder did in their game was they offered you 3 XP tables: normal, accelerated, and slow. And when you start your campaign, pick the one you're going to use. And that's the one you're going to run your game on. And the slow one was perfect, because you could make a 6-level campaign take fucking 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, it would, unless they were playing every night, it was going to take a long time to get there. And you would get what Heathen Dog talks about, which is that old AD&D experience of, hey, I'm going to spend some time at this level. I'm going to spend some time figuring out what my stuff does. And that's one of my biggest complaints about uniform leveling that first edition WotC fantasy role-playing game brought to the table. I hate uniform XP tables, and they've always been revolting. Now they're rebelling. Thank you for getting the reference, Nerds Nerd. And they stink on ice. But the third edition WotC fantasy role-playing game, it's too fast. It's so fast. And they get all of these things, right? All of these things at every level. They get all these bells and whistles and doodads, and they spend no time getting to know them. They don't spend enough time learning how to use them strategically. They don't spend enough time developing understanding of them before the new stuff arrives, that they got to suddenly pick new things and look at new things and do new things. And but that's also like ADD fucking gaming at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, it's not AD&D, it's just ADD.
But that's also a system like that. A lot of like a button to press, right? If you look at a system like Chaosium, like Pendragon, or like a Call of Cthulhu, same thing, right? You don't have all those like, oh, I'm activate this power, and then I'll get this power, right? You don't have this kind of thing. You just like roll everything as a skill. And I like also in this thing. Sorry?
They're not bad things inherently. That's my point.
I love that, right? I'm not a big fan of like system where like button to push, right?
A couple of buttons to push are fine. There's nothing wrong with every level getting a button or two to push. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when it's overdone the way it is now, where every level you got 5 new buttons to fucking push, but I just got 5 fucking buttons to push 300 experience ago. What the hell? And this is one of my big problems I have with the grognard mentality of, oh, well, that's just no bleh. It's like, no. There's a mix, a healthy mix you can do where it's like fucking baking or cooking or whatever you want to do it, or alchemy. The right mixture is going to produce the right experience, and you're going to have fun.
The difference between medicine and poison is dosage.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even water's poisonous. That's how it is.
Love is like oxygen. Yep. Get too much, you get too high. Not enough, and you'll only die. Thank you. I'm here all week. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
But like, also, like, I wanted to mention about those Chaosium system. Like, that's a system where like basically the GM gets out of the way, right? You just like you make some roll at some point, and then you can make a tick, and then like again you can test to gain experience on that skill later on, right? Just like there's no like, oh, I'm giving you that much XP at that point, right? So, and I think the reason for that is very nice, because like it's not like a big package that come to you. Oh, you gain some experience in that skill got better, you're better at that thing, right? Because you used it. That's my favorite way to approach it.
All right, well, we got a $20 super chat, so cutting in. And Weird Guy 5, by the way, Weird Guy, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway. 2 weeks ago, you won $100 and you weren't here. I'm rubbing it in now because you're here like every week, but you weren't here then. and I felt bad. And now I'm going to read your super chat. Thank you for the $20. Does knowing your campaign is open-ended or will end on a specific date radically change how you do higher levels? We changed mid-campaign to a fixed ending, and it went wild, big, and ended with a major bang. But it ended.
I believe every campaign should have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
You cannot run a campaign forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Or
Yeah.
it fizzles
Yeah,
out.
you will end up if there isn't an end goal to your campaign. It doesn't matter how long it is. It's a 6 months, a year, year and a half, 5 years, whatever. But if you don't have an end goal, everyone will just quit. At some point, everyone will quit because they'll just get tired of doing it without having something to aspire to.
Yeah.
So you
Mr.
have to have an end.
Mr. Boivin, do you know Farador? Farador?
No.
So it's this comedy sketch that was done here in Quebec by a group of French guys, and it's about this dude coming back and hooking up with his old D&D buddies to play on a one day, and he finds out the two guys have not stopped playing since college. So they've got like level 35 characters, and they're all like, well, do I make a character at that level? No, you got to make a first level character. Those are the rules. It's like, okay. So he makes a first level character and then just proceeds to fuck with them. It's really funny. But it's that mentality of, you've been playing your character for how many years now? 15 fucking years? Dude, how is that
try
fun?
something new, man. I mean,
how is that fun?
Monogamy's nice, but you don't need it, you know?
Well, I'm a different opinion on that one. I would love to play the same character for 15 years. But as long as that character is growing, and that doesn't necessarily mean levels, but growing through the experience, I would love to play the same character. I always go in with the intention that my timelines that I use for my campaign will last a certain amount of time, 4 months, 6 months, year, whatever. I mean, the characters kind of change all that as they're playing, but they're finite individual timelines, but then the timelines can build on themselves. So I can continue the adventure going for forever if I need to. Now, I get burned out too, so don't get me wrong, but I just want to keep playing every week, and I don't like, honestly, I don't like, so like when GM Zelkovs, he's running his, and we've been talking about this, he's like, yeah, I'm running this adventure path for Pathfinder, and hopefully it'll end soon, whatever. I'm like, why? No, I want to do something after that with the same character. Sure, that part is over, but now that we've completed that, there's more to the world to see and do. Let's keep doing that.
But I agree with what Logdog just said. Read his $20 rent, and then I will tell you that I agree with what he just said.
Okay, so the world persists.
I guess Weird Guy won't have my answer then.
What's that?
I guess Weird Guy won't have my answer then.
Well, I got to read a super chat. So the world persists. The campaign inside the world ends. Sometimes players in one campaign meet older characters from previous campaigns as NPCs.
I agree. Now do your Weird Guy thing. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Max.
No, what I want to say about Weird Guy, about this campaign, having a fixed ending, that's something I don't tend to do because we don't know, right? I don't go in a game with a planned story. I create a world. There's some conflict in the world. I don't know where it's gonna go. That's the preview of the players, right? I present them an initial situation. Where it's gonna go, it's based on them. And for me, it's not the end of a campaign as much as the end of the story arc. At some point, okay, that's good. We solve some issue and we don't have anything that we start in the same time. That's a good point to end. We can just agree to end that. And sometimes it's just the end of the character. This character said, you know what? I had enough of that shit. I'm moving on, right? And we're going to talk about the retiring character a little later on.
Yep.
I think that's a good way to do it as well, right? And sometimes you can say, is that a new game? Is that a new campaign? If we start with a new character in the same world, right? Just like that, then there's debate there as well, right? What's a campaign really?
Well, yeah, there are people who say, well, a campaign, like Max, you don't run a campaign, you run multiple campaigns. Okay, fine, whatever. I don't care about that penetrating that. I call that my long-term game a campaign. That's just what I do. Now, we're going to get to some of the chat here that's going to type into this. We could talk about this for a while, but you guys realize that we're double the time, right? We should be ending soon, and we still have 2 more full segments to go. So I love the conversation. This panel has been absolutely fantastic so far, but we do have to move on. So I'm going to start reading some chat here, and then we're going to move on to the next one. So going all the way back to here. All right. So Crispy says, low level is interesting to play It's an opportunity to experience in-character first-time experiences. I highlighted this one because I wanted to counter it. I agree with Crispy, but I'm going to counter it with what I hear, which is, yeah, but I've played this game for 40 years, and I've done all this stuff. I don't need to play low-level play again.
Yeah, but like you as a player, but this character never did, right? This character can experience
it's
those
the same thing. It doesn't matter, man. I played hundreds of sessions, hundreds of games. There's only so much you can do with it.
Try role playing sometime,
or play a different system.
Have you heard about this crazy thing the kids are doing called role playing? Oh.
By the way, Malachi, do me a favor. How destroyed are we getting over on the guild, the Basic Experts Guild server? No, it's again, there are going to be aspects, and one of them is going to come towards the end here that I disagree with Bear on in terms of games, but I understand where he's coming from, and it'll be when we talk about a hex crawl in just a moment. Cody.
Sorry.
Says, yes, I really enjoy trying to figure out who this new character is. It's one of the most fun aspects of being a player and trying to create a new personality to a character. Agree completely.
I do too.
100%.
That's the problem I'm having with your game right now, Cody.
The worst kind of long-term player is the guy who plays the same guy over and over and over and over.
I'm the brother. He's got a hat.
I'm the brother. I'm the
He's got a
cousin. I'm the
mustache.
sister. I'm the uncle.
Right.
Whatever, dude.
I'll say that if you do that, you're cheating yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're like you're robbing yourself of a good experience from something like
Yeah.
Well, you guys are just actors, so
hey, if you want to get laid by some weirdo goth girl, be a LARPer. All right, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Bear's thinking now. Well, maybe I do.
Bear's remembering.
DM James is in chat right now going, back in my George was it Edgar whatever George says I think I don't know who my character is till several sessions in. This is generally me. No matter how hard I try, it takes several sessions before I'm like, okay, now I understand who my character is.
Yeah, I starting to go to about 20 minutes usually it takes me, right?
20 minutes. Wow, it takes me a few sessions.
Yeah, well, you still build up.
Once I find the voice of the character, I'm in. I've hit it.
Cool. Max Thompson says the baseline changes with each edition is what I think he said. Yes, and this was about what you were saying, Bear, about the hero to superhero stuff. Yeah, I mean, first level in 5e is different than it is in 4e, but it's still the first level of the game. It's playable and so forth. My contention is just that I was scared when I played first and second edition as a first level character. I was never scared as a third or fifth edition character at first level. Just never.
Okay.
Or Pathfinder.
Okay.
Or Starfinder.
But that doesn't mean that the game doesn't. It's just like it's a different tone. Doesn't mean it doesn't run well for
a
level.
Completely different feel, and you have to understand that it's called Dungeons and Dragons, but it's not that.
Yeah.
You can't compare.
I'm going to announce it now that when the new D&D comes out, I'm going to make my channel all about the new D&D and singing its praises, and I'm going to kiss.
You're going to have 20,000 subscribers in a month.
I'm right away. Boom, first minute.
I'm going to kiss
Kiss the ring of Hasbro. Do it.
I will. Give me all the whiz kids.
Give me all the money.
Thank you.
Notice what we have never talked about here.
Your sex life?
Well, that and Bob.
Well, no, we haven't gotten to epic characters yet, so I can't talk about mine.
Cyberpunk 2020 made it very clear guns and drugs are bad for you. You don't have to censor stuff here, Bob, but appreciate that. Guns and drugs are bad for you. It's just that PCs forget it's bad when the other guys have them too.
Fair.
Yeah.
I like Cyber. I honestly, I didn't play much Cyberpunk, to be fair, but I liked it. I love the hit points, or not the hit, but the hit location system. I actually like games that have that. So.
Okay, give me time. I have to digest Cyberpunk Red because I have it as a physical copy, and it's the worst laid out book that has ever been fucking created. And I'm going to hack it again. Oh, dude, it's bad. And I'm going to.
The Witcher.
It's the same company. It's designed to be a PDF. So I'm going to take Cyberpunk 2013, 2020, and Red, pick all the best parts out of each of them that I like, and make what I would think would be an ideal Cyberpunk system, and then I'll run it for you, Max, and make 5 characters before you show up.
That's fair. Hey, as long as I die in style, I'm happy.
Oh, no. You die in like I walk out onto the street. There's a gunfight going on between Arasaka and Militech goons. Crossfire. Oh, you got hit in the head.
Boom. Oh,
I'm sorry. You're a really cool character that
who accidentally got killed in the gang fight.
You agonized over for weeks, picking all the right cyber gear and the cool leather coat, and you showed me the pictures of it, and he just took a headshot and he's dead. Sorry. It's that brutal. It's that fucking brutal.
It's funny you say that because the game I'm making is that brutal. I'm okay with that. Table Runner Crispy once again says, I don't play to win XP. I play for the experience of the role play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody said it. Oh no, I'm going to actually get to the comment in a moment here. So I'll wait for that. Law Dog, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. I got to scroll back to see who he gave them to. Dragon in the West, Brimstone, Redjarum? That's not Red Rum. That's Redjarum. Henry Small and Kevin Lamb. There you go, guys. I'm not going to add you for today's giveaway, but what I've started to do is I've started redoing it on Thursday, so that means you don't drop off the list anymore. Kind of missing out on a week. You'll get your 4 weeks of possible victories for segment 5. So thank you very much, Law Dog. I appreciate that. Malachi. Now this is the one I want to go. If there's no XP, there should be some other in-game reward.
Yeah,
I am one of those people that firmly believes that equipment, getting money to expand your ship, that's a sci-fi game, obviously. Whatever is its own reward. Yep. Or can be. I buy a better gun. I buy a better ship. I buy a better crew. Get rid of these weirdos.
Connection.
Connection. That's what I was going to say. As Mr. Max would say that no, your growth with the NPCs can open up so many more opportunities for you that it'll feel like you gained a level. It'll feel like that. Mm-hmm. Like you befriend a dock worker and you helped him get out of some gambling debt. And now he gives you 10% off all of your docks of it, keeping with the sci-fi game theme.
You're moving up in the world.
That in itself can be more important than gaining a level in the long run.
Contrapoint. Yeah, but I can kill that character. I can steal your nice gun. Yeah. I can take away your windfall. I can destroy your ship. Unless I'm throwing level draining whites at you, I can't take away your level.
That's true.
What if you lose an arm?
That's the point, though. The point is
get a cyber arm.
For some people, things like level and stuff like that matter because it's stuff that can't be taken away. It's accomplishments that can never be removed from them. So I understand why they're into it. I'm with you guys. I'm 100% with you guys.
Sure.
But I understand why people
it's
like
good to
it.
point out the devil's advocate side as well, because it seems that we're agreeing a lot more than I kind of thought we were going to.
Well, because you haven't asked any controversial questions. Come on, man.
Well, you know what? That sounds like something you say to somebody who's lost everything. Well, at least you have your health. Well, at least you have your XP. It's like that, and when you say that, that's literally the last thing they have left. I mean, they've lost everything, but they have their dog or they have their
they can get a new sword, they can get new armor, they can make new friends.
Yeah.
But also like the goal is just to have like after when you look back on this character, man, this was an interesting fucking story that this guy went through, right?
I agree.
Yeah,
and lost
being devil's advocate. That's all.
Yeah, and we need that. We need that. We got a chat over here on Rumble for $20. Grizzly Beardo says, "Thank you very much, Grizzly Beardo. Appreciate that because I get to keep all 20 of that, and I can dive into it and swim into it in pennies. I make new characters mostly, but I've had so many fun characters die before their time. I'll sometimes recreate them years later. You know what? I've done that too. Recreate them years later in later campaigns just to give them a second chance at love." No, I get that. Like, it'll be what I thought my vision was then because I won't necessarily remember. But if I had something die that quickly, I'll try it again later.
Yeah, like I feel like I got cheated by circumstance. I'm gonna try and catch that lightning in a bottle again. Give it a shot.
Yeah,
I get it.
Weird Guy for $5 says, "Heathen Dog, we have combat wheelchairs now. Losing a leg is not a big deal now."
You go to hell, sir. You go to hell and you die.
Well, he did finish with F percent Ing Watsy.
Yeah, I know you're kidding. It was funny. Yeah. Yep.
And then the last comment on here, and this is the part where I think Bear's still listening, so we're good. He says, "That's completely false. indefinite hex crawl campaigns are very fun because you get to set the goals yourself and work for them. And to be fair, I agree with this as well. I like hex crawl games. I do.
Sorry, I choked on that. The bile that rises in my throat when I hear the word hex crawl.
See, I love them. And the reason I do is because I like the randomness of them to an extent. Let me rephrase that. I do want the game master to prep a little bit and kind of know what the world is about and what's going on. I don't like it when things are so, so zero prep, as they say, that it's clown shoes.
Yeah, if your mind is too open, your brain will fall out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Sorry. No, you want to play a hex crawl? I'll be Max. I'll be really, 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 really polarized the way Max normally is when he talks about stuff. Oh, it's clown shoes, baby. You want to play a hex crawl? Go play Link Ocarina of Time. You want to play? Why do you need a GM? Why do you need other people? Just go play a goddamn JP or a JRPG. Just go do that. Like, seriously, hex crawls annoy the living shit out of me because they're not ROLE playing. They're just exploratory moving pieces on a map, fighting monsters, stuff like that. It's all the stuff I don't like about D&D. That's what a hex crawl is.
See, and that's the thing. I like both.
For me.
Well, that's implied. The for me is implied.
No. It's the internet, dude. I got to make it clear.
He's got
for me.
The words said by Bear do not represent Legion.
Naturally, I was a little bitch and... sorry.
Well, again, it doesn't represent Legion Myth, so it's all good.
This message brought to you by Zeg Media.
But I like both. I really do. I like a balance of both, though, where if it's just complete random hex crawl, where it's like, there's a green dragon here, and over here, there's the, I don't know. I haven't been in so many that were like that.
To each other. That's my problem with hex crawls. How can you have that much shit concentrated in one area? Like it's
Forbidden Lands does a good job of putting in dead space, so I'll give that some credit. But anyway, but I did want to put that out there that I'm in the middle. That I actually do like the hex crawls to an extent, but I also like what Bears. I'm obviously in Bears game. I've been in Heathen Dog's game. I've been in other people's games that are more railroady. I just think that there's a balance and that there's a nice flexible area in there where you can have fun and all of that. I think the extremes on both sides for me are bad, but that's the extremes. So Law Dog says for $5, someone out there right now is claiming that Bear said all hex crawls were burned in hell forever. Yeah. That's true.
And notice the hex crawl hate for me not liking hex crawls is now starting up where I'm wrong and everything's wrong. For me, I fucking hate them. You love them?
It's too late.
Fill your boots, baby. Have a great time.
This is how you're known.
You do you. Oh, fuck it. Then if we're gonna crucify me, let me get up.
No. We gotta go. We gotta move on.
We've
only done 2 segments. We've got 2 more to go. So I hope everybody loved it. This has been entertaining. We're trying to spar a little bit here, get the energy level up, but we're gonna move on. This was about what was this about? I already forgot now. Oh, this was about novice and journeyman characters. Now we're gonna move into the master and epic level characters and the trials and tribulations and challenges of doing those. And I should have had the subscribe button up. Please like, subscribe, and share. This is for the people watching live stream too. Like, subscribe, share. Appreciate all the super chats that have been popping in and the Rumble rants. You guys are awesome. And are we close to $100 yet for a giveaway? We're about halfway there.
55?
51 plus 20, so 71.
Oh, 71. Oh, okay, sweet.
So yep, and that'll be in segment 5. Nobody will see that in the videos. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next segment.